What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel, this time for another action figure review of Hasbro's Lightning Collection of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now this is one of the coolest lines and licenses I think that Hasbro's picked up in quite some time, mainly because the Power Rangers were my childhood, as I'm sure it was for you as well. I'll never forget my dad bringing home my first Power Ranger when I was just in the first grade a long time ago in that galaxy far, far away. But I'm excited to review this line. I'm also going to be comparing it between Bandai's Legacy Collection. That's the one that's been around for quite some time. I'll show you the difference between those figures, the pros, the cons. I mean, look at this box art. I mean, how cool is that? And how do you not get sucked into it? And I will say I'm only doing the Mighty Morphin line. I'm not doing the Time Force, I'm not doing Space or anything like that, Turbo. I'm only doing the Mighty Morphin line. And maybe Zeo, because the Zeo line just came out, and that's the one right after Mighty Morphin, and I kind of got into that too. But that's it, and that's where we're going to get going. So let's get all these figures out here. Of the ones that have come out thus far, as I've told you before, I am going to be missing the Blue Ranger. Billy is not yet out, but he has been announced, and that will be joining the collection soon. But let's take a look at what we have currently, and without further ado, it's Morphin Time! Starting off with Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, my personal favorite Ranger, and I'm pretty sure many of yours as well. This is from the Fighting Spirit 2-pack. It does come with one of the putties, and there is no current single release of him, but I expect that to change in the near future, as well as being able to army build a few of the putties. But this is a great representation of what you can expect from the Lightning Collection. As you can see, the sculpt is spot on, the paint apps are very well done, and the thing I like about these are the accessories, multiple hands, and these lifelike head sculpts. Hasbro has done a great job with their face printing technology to be able to really nail the likenesses, and this is a great representation of Jason David Frank. Now let's look at the other Rangers. Starting with the most recent release from the Lightning Collection would be the Yellow Ranger, and that head sculpt on Trini looks absolutely fantastic. But as you can see about the Legacy Collection, there's just something quite a bit off, and it's not screen accurate to the character at all. The same can be said about the Pink Ranger. As you can see here in this image, it looks nothing like the Kimberly that we happen to see on the screen. Now granted, the head sculpt from this Kimberly isn't exactly perfect either, but you can still tell that this is the Pink Ranger. I love the bow, I love the effects, and I love the paint applications of this Pink Ranger. I think it is spot on to what it looked like on the screen. Next up is Jason, the Red Ranger, and you can see the comically proportioned size of the Legacy Collection on the right. The head sculpt, although it looks like Jason, is kind of mopey for some reason. I don't know why they chose to go that route, but overall he does come with his power sword, he does come with the blaster, just like all the other Rangers do, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But I think this looks great, I love the articulation, and this is our Red Ranger. Next up is the Walgreens exclusive Zack, or the Black Ranger, and this head sculpt is actually one of my favorites, and I think it is absolutely spot on. Now there is no Black Ranger regular release, but I expect that to be changing in the not too distant future once Billy is released next. And speaking of Billy, I don't have a Blue Ranger, but we'll use this Zeo stand-in to at least give you an idea of what the paint colors are going to look like. Now let's take a quick side-by-side comparison of the female body type between the Lightning Collection and the Legacy Collection, and we will use the Yellow Ranger here, and I'll say that the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger for both brands respectively use the exact same body type. So the pink would look just like the yellow and vice versa. So with this, the first thing you'll notice is that with the Legacy Collection, the scaling, the proportions, and I'll just call it that, as well as the paint applications are much more exaggerated on this figure. Now this isn't a bad figure by any means. The articulation is fantastic. I think it's, a great start. But overall, I'm going to have to lean towards this Lightning Collection. I love how they both have the high gloss helmets, that's fine, and that obviously is in line with the show, but the matte application and the actual body style and the body type of this figure definitely gets the A+ in my mind. And it also has extended articulation in these butterfly joints in the shoulders, leading to a much greater range of motion. Now, the one thing I'll say about these figures is that I'm not as impressed with the weapons. Now you say, well, they're identical. Yeah, but if you look at the actual size and the detail on these, this is the ones I actually like quite a bit more. Now, the detail is definitely there, and I'll show you the difference between those. You can see, let me flip that one around. You can see that there is no power coin or anything on that painted on the Lightning Collection, but with the Legacy you do get a little bit more detail, and I think the scaling on that is a little bit more proper. Now, the same with all of these figures is that the Legacy Collection comes with the closed version of the gun. Now, as you'll see in the males, I'll show you that in just a second, is that theirs is an open gun version. And I really don't like that because you can't put it in their holster at all. And I think the Legacy Collection definitely gets the one up on that. But if we're going completely from the bottom up, from A to F, I'd say this is probably about a C figure. This here for me is an absolute A+. And switching gears and taking a look at the male Ranger, the male body will use Jason the Red Ranger here. Now, I will say that I believe the body for both of these, respectively, are the same across the board for the male Rangers, just as the female bodies were the same for the yellow and the pink Ranger. Now, just looking at these once again, the scale is way off. You have this figure right here from the Legacy Collection that is just completely out of scale. If you're, although Jason was, a well-built, athletic guy, this is just too much. And it's a little bit more superhero to me, as opposed to the Lightning Collection that definitely fits the mold of what the character actually looked like in the show. Now, the same is going to apply for all these. The articulation is going to be the same. Once again, the thing that I do appreciate about all these are the butterfly joints. Now, as far as this goes with the Red Ranger, I do prefer the color on the Legacy Collection as opposed to the Lightning Collection on this one. I think the colors are a little bit too dark on this one, and I think this one is just about right. Now, that's my personal opinion, but going back to the weapons, as I had talked about, this one just really knocks it out of the park with the Legacy Collection. Now, this sword's a little bit bent, but you can see the difference in the detail between the swords. This one definitely has a little bit more detail. You can see the power coin there, as well as a better paint app. This one right here is still missing a little bit. Overall, a great piece, but you're looking at it side by side and you're just missing some of the detail. And as I said, this is the gun that you get with the Lightning Collection, and I'm just not a big fan of that if it's not going to move. As I said, all the Legacy Collection does come with this closed one that you can fit right inside the belt holster that doesn't stay together there. So overall, once again, I think the Lightning Collection is the superior figure. The thing I do have the issue with is the color and the gun, but overall, Lightning Collection once again takes it home. I want to spend just a second more talking about the accessories. And as you can see, the Legacy Collection, those are the ones on the bottom, they definitely have the superior weapons. Now, before I get too upset about that, I want to show you all of these. Now, this is why I'm willing to let that pass, is because the Lightning Collection gives you everything from extra hands to effects to pieces to all kinds of different things, not to even mention the spare heads that I showed you as well. So although the collection may not have the most detail in some of the weapons, it makes up for it exponentially. And this isn't even all of it. I just didn't want to put it all out there on the table. Each figure comes with an effect. Each figure comes with multiple hands. Overall, I'm willing to look over the fact that these may not be the most detailed weapons simply because the amount of stuff you get for a $20 figure is absolutely phenomenal. And showcasing the White Ranger, this is actually the first figure that I picked up from the Lightning Collection. He does come with Saba, and he comes with a really good Tommy Oliver head sculpt that you saw on the Green Ranger. And speaking of Tommy Oliver, this is evil Tommy Oliver, or Lord Dracon from the comics. This head sculpt is really cool. He does have the straight hair instead of the ponytail and the scarring on the cheeks. This is a standout villain in my collection. As far as the putty goes, he has some really cool hand sculpts, but it leaves a little to be desired. I really wish he had a little bit of a wash on him because he's really glossy. Same thing could be said about this Goldar figure. I love Goldar, he looks fantastic. The wings are a little bit flimsy, but he is massive, he's imposing, but the wash is something I really could have gone with, and maybe a little more of a dirty feel. And now finally, Lord Zed. This was the second figure I got, and one of the most desired ones from the Lightning Collection from the first wave. He comes with his staff, the effects, and the bomb. Well, there you have it. That's the review. That's what I think of the Lightning Collection, and as I can say, this is one of my favorite lines, and I'm so excited to see what's coming next. As I mentioned, Billy is in the rotation. He will be coming out soon. Cannot wait to add him. We still do need another Black Ranger that has without the Dragon Shield. I'm looking forward to getting that whenever. And I do know there's a Rita Repulsa Lord Zed Wedding 2-pack that's coming to GameStop, and this one actually got the fingers right on Zed. They're actually silver or metallic, and that's what it looks like right there. I'll put it up so you can actually see it. Looking forward to grabbing that because we need Rita. Now, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that they're going to absolutely crush this, and I cannot wait. But here are my personal top 3 of what I want to see from this collection next. Number 1, without a doubt, I want to see Alpha 5. He is one of my favorite little figures, or characters rather, from the show. Can't wait to see Alpha and add him to the collection. Number 2 would be Finster, one of Rita's henchmen, you know, the maker of all the putties and all the bad guys that she ultimately makes her monsters grow. And then number 3 would be Scorpina. I love that character. I think it's awesome. I think they would do a great job with it, and she would look awesome next to Goldar, and I cannot wait to see what Hasbro has next. Thank you so much for listening this far. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have not yet done so, please leave me a like, leave me a comment. Make sure to subscribe if you've not done so already, and I will see you in our next video.